Electronics. This is Jag with a video presentation covering pattern detectors for Digital Electronics UG2 students studying at Birmingham City University, Millennium Point. Now, this video presentation isn't meant to serve as an introduction to pattern detectors because we've already covered that in the lectures. It's more of a summary or a revision of pattern detectors just to consolidate what we've already learned. Now, I'm going to upload this to Moodle as well as YouTube. There's two advantages for uploading onto YouTube. First is that the video is uploaded onto separate servers, so it gives me the peace of mind that students have got access to all the material all the time, because the likelihood of both servers being down simultaneously is low. Second advantage is that on YouTube there is a comment section which we can utilize to communicate, and I fully encourage you to do that. The disadvantage of using YouTube is that for a free account the duration of any single video must not exceed 10 minutes. So to kind of get around that, I may have to split this video into several parts. Okay, so the module that it's concerning is Digital Electronics UG2. The theme of this presentation is Moore and Mealy pattern detectors, and my name of course is Jag. Now, just to kind of recap on the definition and differentiation between Moore and Mealy state machines. These machines, represent a system, Moore and Mealy digital systems. Now, the definition of a Moore system is the output of the Moore finite state machine is a function of only the current state and the system finds itself in and is independent of any external input. That's the definition. However, in English all it means is that in any state an output cannot change. So whatever the output is in a state, it remains that throughout that state. The output of a Mealy finite state machine is a function of its current state and external inputs. So the output of a Mealy state machine, Mealy system, is that the output can change within a state. It can change depending on a state or an external input. There will be several examples to follow which will kind of reinforce this distinction between the two. The first example is a synchronous pattern detector system is required which has a serial bit input, external input X, and one external output F. The output should only be at logic 1 for the last bit of the following pattern, 1 0 0. Once pattern is detected, the system should reset. And now one bit of data is passed into the system at a time, and it's random. We're going to assume random data, and as soon as that pattern is detected 1 0 0, well, on the second 0 F should be high. In other words, the pattern has been fully detected. That is the system description. That's what we want. And I've just kind of randomly shown bits that can go into the system. Now, here follows some discipline for Moore state machine. Now, for a Moore state machine, the states are represented as circles, and what takes you out of a state into another state is a line. I do apologize, it should be an arrow actually on the bottom circle indicating the state has gone from the top to the bottom. Now, inside each state you have a kind of, it looks almost like a numerator and denominator separated by a horizontal line. At the top you've got the state, whatever state that is, a numerical value, and at the bottom you've got an output, whatever output is, and again a numerical value. And beside the arrow which is taking you out from one state to another state, you have the value of the input, either 0 or 1. Now let's have a go at trying to actually detect this pattern. So this is a generic system, but it's following the Moore principle. Remember the Moore principle, the output cannot change within a state, and we're going to try to design a system that will actually fully realize the description that were provided previously. Now, whenever I design a FSM, I always like to kind of have a comments table as well, which kind of allows me to keep track of what's going on. So first, state 0, and state 0 is startup or reset. Now, if the first input X is 1, then that goes into state 1. But I'm going to make sure that I've kind of, in the comments table, you can see that state 1 represents a logic 1. So we've kind of banked a 1 there. However, if it's 0, then you remain in state 0, and you're going to wait for that 1 to occur. Okay, in state 1, if the input is 1, well, you just keep staying there, don't you? Because it could be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. So just keep staying in state 1. However, in state 1, if the next input is 0, then you go to state 2, because you've got 2 correct bits of the pattern now. And that's indicated by my comments table. Okay, in state 2, if the input is 1, you go back to state 1. In state 2, if the input is 0, well then you've got it, and state 3 indicates the pattern is complete, and you have your 1, 0, 0. Now after that, the next bit, whatever that is, 0 or 1, will go to the reset. Now the system described above has 4 states, and therefore 2 state variables are required there, because of course 2 state variables will actually have 4 unique sequences, and every unique sequence can be considered as a state in itself. Okay, let's go down to the next step. The next step is to determine the state table, sometimes referred to as a state assignment table, from the state diagram, or the state machine, sorry. Now this represents really the same data as the state machine, however whereas that was in graphical form, this is more in tabular form. You can check it out. I mean, the states are clearly there. State 0, state 1, state 2, state 3. Every state has repeated twice, because you've got one external input, and that one input can have either a 0 or a 1 input condition. Therefore, every possible scenario has to be kind of exhausted. Okay folks, now we look at the Mealy state machine, and the Mealy discipline is as follows. The circles and the arrows are the same, circle and the lines are the same. Again, I've been consistent with the mistake. I should have shown an arrow which leads you from one state into another state. Now inside a state, you've only got the actual state numerical value, whatever that is, state 1, state 0, state 3. And next to the arrow, which is taking you out of one state to another state, you have the input and then the output. This is a discipline that we're going to follow throughout the presentation. Right, now the Mealy version of this machine is as follows. State 0 is the startup or reset. Now if the value is 0 of x, then basically just stay in that state. The output is of course 0 as well. If however the input is 1, then that's the first bit of our 3-bit pattern. Notice that the output of course is 0 again. Now a 1 would take us into state 1, so we'll kind of lock in that 1. And if in state 1 the input is 1, we'll just stay in state 1. If in state 1 the input is 0, then that's 2 bits of the pattern, and that deserves a state of its own. So in state 2 we have 1, 0. Now in state 2, if the input is 1, then that kind of invalidates a pattern and just end up with the first bit of the pattern. So it takes us back into state 1. In state 2, if the input is 0, then we have completed the pattern and the output is 1. Notice a difference here. The output is changing within a state basically. Within state 2, the output is 1 or 0 depending on the input. That is the difference between the two types of state machines. And in this system here we have 3 states, therefore 2 variables are required again. This is 1 less than the Mealy. Okay, I think I'm going to have to pause here because I'm kind of reaching my limit of 10 minutes, and I'll see you in part 2 of this video. Thank you.